Hello there, I'm John Zimmerman with Table Rock Trout Unlimited. Welcome back to Fly Tying with us. We are continuing a series of videos on tying on jig hooks with slotted tungsten beads. I showed you a couple of flies that are super quick and super easy. There's nothing hard about this fly, but it's not quite as quick as the other ones. One of the bugs that we have a lot of in this area during the late spring, summer, early fall are golden stones, and we're going to tie a stone fly on a jig hook. So let's go ahead and get to tying. We're going to start with a number 8 jig hook with a number 4 slotted tungsten bead. I'm not going to add any additional weight to it. That number 4 tungsten bead is awfully heavy. So I'm not going to add any additional weight. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to tie in our tailing material, which is going to be sulfur yellow biot. Before we do that, we need to put in a little dubbing ball, and that will help us keep those two pieces of biot material separated from each other when we tie them in. I'm going to go in and clip out 2 yellow biots. These are goose biots. You could use turkey. Either one will suffice. And we want to tie them in with the curvature facing away from us. I tied that in a little bit long. I'm going to go in and reset that. Remember, this is a number 8, so you're going to have slightly long tails anyway. And then do the same thing, measure off on the other side. And you can see how much that, just taking the time to tie in that dubbing ball at the back is such a it takes a couple seconds to do it, but in the end it saves you a whole lot of time trying to split those tails. So do yourself a great big favor when you are tying in biot tails and tie in a little dubbing ball at the back. It will save you time in the end. From here on, I'm going to take just a couple of minutes, half a minute or so, and work on my taper just a little bit. And one of the things that I like to think about when I'm working on a taper is going back and back forward, going back not quite as far as I went the last time, and back forward, and then going back not quite as far, back not quite as far, and then I'm going to go all the way back, since I've already got a taper established, and tie my material in. And the material that we are going to use for the body of this fly is UTC vinyl rib in size nymph. You could probably get away with using the size medium on this, but I like the nymph size a little bit better. It doesn't got a little bit more leeway, and it's not quite as bulky. I tie this with the flat side down and the dome side up. Now, if you tie this in at the back and just tie it in at the back, you will have a nasty raised spot that you will never get rid of. So go ahead and tie in that piece all the way to the top, and then just like I've told you in a number of our other videos, waste can be your friend in helping you create the body of a fly. You see that we did not alter our established taper at all when we tied that piece in. If we had just tied it in at the back, we'd have a big old bump at the back that would have been problematic for us in establishing the rest of the fly. So I'm going to tie a couple turn whip finish in right here just to hold this bobbin in place. I'm going to use the rotary function of my vise to tie this rib in. You want to put a good amount of pressure on this And then one big hard wrap in behind the tile point, several wraps in front, clip close. I'm going to put another half hitch in here just to be safe, that I don't lose any of that, and really firmly set that in place. Now, this fly is going to ride this way in the water, so we're going to have to do a little bit of work on this side. Part of that is going to involve tying in 2 biots for our antennae coming off the top of the fly. And you don't really have to worry about tying in a dubbing ball, because you've got a big old tungsten bead right there that's going to create your split for you. Wrap back over those. This is going to be the our thorax region for this fly. And we're going to do a couple of things right here. We're going to tie in a piece of thin skin, if I can find it. This is 1/8 inch brown scudback that we're going to tie in. You're going to tie in a small piece of silver metallic sulky as well. That'll help give us just the slightest little bit of flash on top of that. So I'm going to tie that sulky in there as well. Tie our scud back in. And now we are ready to dub our abdomen. We're going to go halfway up the abdomen. I'm going to tie this abdomen pretty dark. We've got a lot of yellow in this fly and not a lot of contrast, so I like to use a fairly dark material. This is a mix, a personal mix of some black, some brown, some yellows in there, but it's got a nice dark texture without being overly black or dark. So that's a little bit too much for the first part of this. What we're going to do is we're going to dub the first half of this, and then we're going to tie in a pair of rubber legs on both sides. So we want just enough to create the back half of this, and then we're going to tie in a pair of rubber legs on both sides. Don't want these guys to be too long, just enough to add some wiggle to the fly. So we'll go in and do the same thing, cut those short. And then we're going to go back with the rest of our dubbing and finish off the thorax, the body of the thorax, with the rest of this dubbing. And pull these 2 legs forward, actually get one wrap between them, and then pull them forward a little bit. You can do it without lancing yourself with if you can do it without lancing yourself on your hook point. these guys separated. One of the great things about these, I use Spanplex for rubber legs. One of the great things about that material is once it's tied in, you can basically do what you want to with it. It'll accept a lot of change. A lot of change if you just pull on a little bit. So a couple wraps in front of the tying point, one wrap in front to cement, and then to add just the smallest bit of flash, this strand of sulky. And we're going to protect that with a slight spot of UV cure. And then a couple turn whip finish. If I can find my tool again. I have made a royal mess at my desk doing these videos. And just to make that a little bit more presentable, I'm going to color for my second whip finish, I'm going to color this thread brown. I don't really care for too much of that yellow thread showing, so I'm going to whip finish with some of the thread colored brown. That'll give a much better overall finished look to this fly. Okay, so there you have it. We're going to finish it off with just a dollop of UV cure right there. And before it really starts to move on you, you want it to be in the same idea as a copper john right here. A good solid little air bubble there. So before it starts to fan out too much, go ahead and hit it. And you've got a pre-made little air pocket or air bubble for this bug. It'll also protect the sulky and protect the scud back from getting too much damage done to it. So, again, this one took a little bit longer, but there's nothing intrinsically hard or difficult about it. No expensive materials, nothing difficult. So this is a killer fly during the late spring, summer, early fall, when we've got lots of golden stones out, and those are honking big bugs in the water, and trout absolutely go crazy for them. So get to tying and catch